Hi, and welcome to Best in Tesla. So Tesla is spamming us with new incredible full self-driving supervised videos from around the world, doing rides that someone like Waymo will not be able to do, not now and not in the near future. Tesla is truly flexing their full self-driving capabilities now here just 10 days before they will release unsupervised full self-driving in Austin. I know some of the Wall Street guys think this is only going to disrupt something like ride-hailing, but they got this all wrong. We have about 10 days countdown until Tesla take the first step of changing transportation forever. So let's check it all out and let's dive right in. So Tesla has now released 4 videos of full self-driving supervised operating outside North America, highlighting their impressive progress in neural net scaling. We have seen them driving through the narrow streets of Amsterdam in the Netherlands with pedestrians and bikes and trams in one big mess, and it was no problem for the full self-driving software. Now they have also shown off right-hand driving in Melbourne, Australia, including the unique hook turn maneuver, where the vehicle turning right at an intersection first pulls to the left side of the intersection, wait until oncoming traffic clears, and then complete the right turn. This is typically done at a tram-heavy intersection to avoid blocking the tram tracks or oncoming traffic. But for full self-driving, it was no problem. But this should also give us some confidence that Tesla can quickly expand to other countries in Asia and elsewhere that also have right-hand driving. And with the Cybercab, the production is the same as it does not have a steering wheel. And we also saw full self-driving navigating the traffic jungle of Paris, France. It is also a very big city with a lot of crazy traffic, but not just the traffic in Paris, but it also included one of the biggest monsters in Europe. As Nick wrote on X, Tesla's full self-driving has conquered the worst roundabout in the world, the Arc de Triomphe in Paris, France. Waymo could never. If you're not familiar with the roundabout in Paris, the Arc de Triomphe roundabout is notorious for its chaotic design, 12 converging avenues, no lane markings, and a room where cars inside yields to those entering, which is highly unusual. This setup, paired with the heavy traffic, create confusion and frequent accidents, with insurers often split fault evenly due to inherent risks. Something we will not see Waymo do anytime soon. They will probably not come to Paris soon because they cannot handle this roundabout. Waymo's system is simply not clever enough. Because people tend to forget that the technology Waymo is using is something that has been used for decades. It's actually not that impressive because, for example, here where I live, we have a Nordic company called Holo. It has since 2018 been operating autonomous buses here in Scandinavia and other countries as well. I have even tried it myself in the city of Oslo. Holo was founded in 2016 with a headquarters here in Copenhagen, specializing in autonomous mobility solutions. In Oslo, Holo collaborated with Router and partnered with Mobileye to run pilot projects, such as autonomous shuttles aiming to enhance mobility, reduce emission, and integrate with existing transport systems. The company has driven over 130,000 kilometers across 11 countries since 2018. Their projects are time-restricted and only pilot projects for now, and today probably only have around 5 to 10 vehicles in operation at a time. But no matter what, this is autonomous buses that has been driving themselves as long as Waymo has, because they also use geofencing and pre-mapped areas like LiDAR. The only difference is that Waymo is not doing it on fixed route. You can choose a destination as long as it is within the little geofenced mapped area. But the technology is basically the same. They are all just driving on basically digital rails. Waymo has just made a bigger set of rails. So that is why we still see Waymo cars doing stupid things like getting stuck or even crashing into other vehicles or objects, not because they didn't see the car in front of it, but because it couldn't predict the vehicle's directions correctly, meaning the car was just too stupid. It sees great, but the brain is not really that clever. So no, Waymo still makes a lot of mistakes, so they have not really solved full self-driving either. They are still remotely operated when they get stuck and stuff like that to get them back on the digital rails. But just like Waymo, Holo is extremely slow at scale, and their small buses are not meant to be easy or cost-effective to manufacture. So just like Waymo, they don't have a business model that scales very fast and have not thought production at scale into the vehicles themselves or the technology at all. They are just trying to make a car that can drive themselves on digital rails. That's it. So the technology is not really made for scale, and the way they make robotaxis are also not made for scale. The Jaguar I-Pace that Waymo is using today and will refit 2,000 more of these cars with sensors and computers over the next 18 months. Well, that car has not been made anymore, so they have to start all over when it comes to production of a new vehicle. But it's hard to even call it production when they can produce about 2,000 units a year. And in their upcoming production facility, they are aiming for 10,000 units a year. Not really what I would call production at scale either. But we also continue to hear Tesla bears talking about how Uber is the one to own the ride-hailing market. Even good old Jim Chaino has come out from his hiding to try to throw a little more mud on Tesla's future business a last time before we have Tesla proving all the doubters wrong in June. But Uber also just revealed their new invention, route share.
We asked the riders to walk a few blocks to a predetermined point at a predetermined time to participate in a predetermined route which they will share with a couple of other riders. We call that route share.
So as Sean writes on X, they have literally invented the bus. And just look at the route here they use as an example. It's literally 2.5 miles, a 10-minute drive from south of Central Park to the Hudson Square. If Tesla made robotaxis available in New York with a 50 cents per mile or less, it will be able to drive you down there for around $1.25. And it will pick you up where you stand. And you don't have to spend 5 to 10 minutes walking a couple of blocks and then get into an Uber vehicle with other people. I think most people would just go with a cybercab. But anyway, Jim Chanos thinks that robotaxis is not that profitable machine that we bulls make it out to be, because Jim only sees it as a ride-hailing platform.
A company whose earnings are declining, its revenues are declining, its valuation is increasing because investors are pointing to robotaxis, autonomous robots, and then I joked this morning, asteroid mining by robots. I mean, the stories that keep building onto this company as people put hopes and dreams on back of one company and one entrepreneur, quite frankly, are just, sort of getting excessive. And we can definitely see the profits are dropping, unit sales are dropping, margins are coming down, and yet people think that robotaxis will be amazingly profitable and that we're all going to have a robot in our backyard doing lawn work, whatever. The reality is we might, but it might very much look like the car business itself today. Lots of vendors, a lot of commodity business, buy a robot for $30,000 and the manufacturer will make $3,000 on it.
It does have a pretty good head start, though, on much of the competition. I know that, Uber has its own aspirations, and obviously Waymo is what it is at this point. But he has a much greater head start, does he not?
Yeah, but I don't think running in effect the taxi service is the lucrative business the bulls think it is. I mean, people are talking about $2 a mile, and his cost will be very, very low. The fact of the matter is actually owning the asset, which Uber and Lyft don't do, right? That's on the driver. Paying commercial insurance and all of the other costs, cleaning, whatever, downtime. Your costs get north of $1 pretty quickly per mile. And with more supply coming in and costs relatively high, it's not an amazingly lucrative business. The entire ride-hailing business in the U.S. We estimate it's a $50 to $75 billion business.
So he only sees it as a $50 billion market because it is compared to Uber. But Jim seems to forget this is disrupting transportation altogether. This is not Tesla trying to take on Uber. This is Tesla changing the way we use transportation altogether. We have had investors like Ron Barron saying that robotaxis will earn something like $50,000 in revenue annually per vehicle. And some think that this is too optimistic, but we do have Waymo, which is already doing a lot of rides and can give us a little indication of what is possible and that it works.
Waymo currently operates about 1,500 robotaxis in limited U.S. cities like Phoenix and San Francisco. Their cars are geofenced, meaning they can't drive everywhere. The tech is cautious, the rollout is tightly controlled, and it's far from scalable right now. Despite that, Waymo is reportedly generating $250 million in revenue each year. That means $250 million divided by 1,500 cars is equal to around $166,000 per car annually, or around $13,800 per month per vehicle, roughly $450 per day per robotaxi, and that's with limited coverage and limited service hours.
So the 166,000 annually sounds like a lot, and I don't think that will be the case for Tesla, as Tesla has made all of this ready for scale, so a very big difference from Waymo. So they will probably not come in and take $2 per mile, maybe in the beginning, but I don't even think so, because Tesla will probably want to show their technology is better and cheaper. And profits will come when they get to scale and come from just the people buying the software in their normal cars. So I think Tesla's earnings per vehicle of robotaxis will be more like 50 cents per mile in the beginning and do something like 50 to 100,000 miles a year. So between 150 to 300 miles per day or per 24 hours. So that would mean Tesla would earn something like $25,000 to $50,000 per year. That is more in line with what Ron Barron also thinks with his $50,000. But that also means that no matter what, Tesla will, within at least 6 months, have paid off the entire vehicle of the Cybercab that will only cost Tesla something like $15,000 to build. And for the rest of its lifetime, maybe 10, 15 years, maybe more, it will just bring in profits of $25,000 to $50,000 a year. And that is just as a robotaxi. Tesla will also earn money on AI inference, or selling or buying energy from the grid using their cybercabs, and can even have a package delivery service during the night when robotaxi customers' demand are low. But that is just the cybercab. That is already just with these examples doing much more than Uber does, even though Jim Chanos only think that robotaxis are disrupting ride-hailing, nothing more. But he forget that every car Tesla produces is capable of this. And we also have normal Teslas on the ride-hailing app as an Airbnb thing, also earning Tesla money. But I don't think Jim even knows about transport as a service, and this will likely increase the demand for transportation, as I also just showed in my news show, this 88-year-old lady that didn't drive much anymore, but after she tried full self-driving on a Tesla, well, now she wants to get a Tesla because of this software, and this is even before it's unsupervised. But we also see this great video of a guy born with no hands, but can still drive a car with his arms, but thanks to Tesla's full self-driving software, this just makes his life so much easier.
I love driving my Cybertruck. I think it's very therapeutic and relaxing, especially the steer-by-wire and the four-wheel turning, and just the steering in general helps me really enhance my driving experience, me being born with no hands. But sometimes when my arms get tired and I don't want to drive, I just let FSD take over, and it is the best thing ever. Like, I love it. Long road trips, no problem. 20-minute drives, no problem. I absolutely love it. It literally is a hands-free experience. No pun intended. I love this thing. And as long as I got my eyes on the road, it's going to drive for me. I don't ever have to worry about straining my back or having my arms get tired. It is fantastic.
But also, blind people will be able to have transport as a service. Just order a car when you need one. Or any kind of disabled person that for one reason or the other can't drive a car, well, now they suddenly can. The demand is going to rise fast. The demand is not just ride-hailing of today. It's not even just ride-hailing and taxi service combined as of today. It's not even just all transportation of today. It's more. It's people that has never been able to get a car now can. As Hawk also wrote about the boring tunnels video, where the new digging machine can make tunnels with no humans involved, we'll need this big time in the future. With autonomous vehicles, we have affordable premium transport for everyone. This will likely increase traffic due to the increased usage, even though each vehicle is much more efficiently utilized. Yes, this is something where I disagree a bit with Tony Saber about from back in the days when he said robotaxis will reduce the need for vehicles on the street. Yes, if they only disrupted the existing fleet of cars and no more people wanted to use transport as a service. But they will. So I think, just as Hawk here says, the new era of autonomous vehicle will likely increase the demand for rides, as Tesla Cybercab, like I talked about before in other videos, could even suddenly disrupt short-haul flights, not just ground transportation, like a flight between LA and San Francisco from downtown to downtown, including taxis to the airport, getting through security, checking in, having to be there at least an hour before, getting your luggage, finding another taxi to downtown. And if everything goes smoothly, you will be able to do this in about 4 to 5 hours, right? And the flight itself will cost about $65 to $85, depending on the airline budget or major airline. And that is only the flight. You will still have to get to and from the airport as well. Whereas just jumping into a cybercab, picking you up at your address at the time you want to, not where it fits a scheduled flight, driving you all the way to your destination directly, will probably take between 6 to 7 hours. And if ARK Invest is going to be right with their 25 cents per mile when Cybercab is fully ramped, that roughly 380 miles drive would cost about $95. So you will get there maybe 2 hours later. But because you don't have to time it with the flight, so you might even end up spending less time, as you don't have to arrive with the flight a couple of hours before your meeting. You can just plan to go there when it fits your schedule. So you might end up using the same amount of time and maybe even the same amount of money, but you will not have to worry about getting a taxi, getting through the security, checking in, sitting in a plane with 200 other people and 3 screaming kids, hoping your luggage will be there, finding another taxi. You can just work for 6 hours if you want to, in your little nice luxury limo. The time is yours, as these vehicles will just get you from point A to point B without any hassles, no matter where those point A and B is. So I don't really think people are getting just how disruptive this is going to be, also because people compare it to Waymo and Uber. But Waymo is not made for scale. It's not a general solution. Tesla is already at scale and have just shown us with videos from around the world that it is a general solution. And they will, over the next 1 year, produce about 2 million cars that all have the potential to be autonomous vehicles. Cybercabs are not. So even Tesla's Model Y will be a much better business case as a robotaxi than Waymo's robotaxis of today, and the next 1.5 years with their Jaguar I-Pace. And the Cybercab is just a whole other level when it comes to the cost and scale of production. So Tesla is not just disrupting Waymo, as I have shown in one of my news shows where CERN and Joe was talking about the total addressable market for full self-driving software. If it only was Waymo that they would disrupt, well, it would only be a $1.5 billion TAM. If it was just Uber that got disrupted, it would be a $100 billion TAM. But if it's transportation that is being disrupted, then we're suddenly talking about a $7 trillion TAM. And these numbers from Joe and CERN, well, that is ground transportation they're talking about here, not including the new market of disrupting short-haul flights as well, and adding even more transportation to the market, making the total addressable market even bigger yet again. And in 10 days, the first step toward this future begins. with a few vehicles in Austin. And there will no doubt be a lot of haters screaming about how this is disappointing, only 10 to 20 vehicles and for invited guests only, and there might even be a driver in the front seat. But Tesla will scale up to become bigger than Waymo already this year, in my opinion. And then there's simply nothing left for the haters to cry about. Because it will be something like what Ben said here in this post on X. Slowly at first, then all at once. Yes, some people will probably laugh in the beginning when we are slowly rolling it out. But then suddenly, their laughter will be drowned in the flood of Tesla's autonomous vehicles, changing our transportation system forever. And thank you for watching. And until next time, take care out there and be nice.